ancient Pergamon, the center of pagan worship in Asia Minor, once known as the place where Satan dwells. In the 1st century, it was a thriving city. But after countless wars and natural disasters, the temples of Pergamon lay in ruins.
By the mid-19th century, the once great city of Pergamon was barely a memory. The locals were using the site as a quarry, looting the marble for new buildings, until 1864, when a German engineer paid a visit.
Karl Humann was shocked by the destruction of the priceless artifacts, so he got permission to excavate the ancient city himself. And what he found was one of the greatest monuments in history, the altar of Zeus.
Stone by stone, the altar was excavated and brought here to Berlin, and then it was reassembled and placed in its own museum.
The Pergamon Museum was finished in 1930, with the altar as its centerpiece. Eventually, it caught the eye of a young man named Albert Speer, the new chief architect for the Nazi Party. Adolf Hitler had commissioned him to design the parade grounds for the party rallies in Nuremberg. And for inspiration, Speer turned to the Pergamon altar.
Speer gives all the credit to Hitler. I think that he's like a good interior decorator that someone hires, and that client already has the ideas of what he wants to do, and the decorator agrees with him and just fulfills them. So that's what Speer did.
Using the altar as his model, Speer created a colossal grandstand at the rally grounds. It became known as the Zeppelin Tribune. After the war, only a small part of it was left standing.
In the middle of the grandstand, where the altar to Zeus stood in ancient Pergamon, Albert Speer built Hitler's podium. Hitler wanted to create what he called a mass experience, and Speer came up with the perfect idea.
Most of the Nuremberg rallies were held at night, so Speer surrounded the grandstand with 150 searchlights. The columns of light extended for miles in the sky, creating the mystical effect Hitler wanted. The concluding meeting in Nuremberg must be exactly as solemnly and ceremonially performed as a service of the Catholic Church. This effect was known as the Cathedral of Light, and it became a hallmark of Hitler's events. It was even used in the closing ceremonies of the 1936 Olympics in Berlin.
Hitler is very much aware of German mythology, and anytime you look at mythology and gods, you're looking skyward. So I don't think it's an accident that he says to Speer, let's create an environment of looking towards the heavens. And that's what it does.
Inside the rally grounds, thousands of Nazi Party members marched in torchlight parades.
These events happen at night, which gives a contrasting effect of fear, of strength, of the unknown, of mystery, and that's all intended by him. He's very theatrical. Torchlight fire has always been part of even pre-Christian beliefs. So I think there's a kind of a quasi-mystical, semi-religious content to these torch parades. There's many of them in Nazi Germany.
From his podium, Hitler mesmerized the crowds. Not every one of you sees me, and I do not see every one of you, but I feel you, and you feel me. Then, under the Cathedral of Light, thousands of Germans swore what they called a holy oath. Blazing flames hold us together into eternity. No one shall take this faith from those who are dedicated to Germany.
From 1933 to 1938, hundreds of thousands of people gathered here every September for the Nazi Party Congress. But it was the 1934 Congress that captured the attention of the world, thanks to what may be the greatest propaganda film of all time.
The 1934 party film is the consummate picture of Hitler. That's it. No other film was ever made of him. And he didn't want any other film made of him. Everything that he wanted people to know about the Nazis is in that film. It was shown continuously for 12 years in Germany.
Triumph of the Will was directed by a young German actress named Leni Riefenstahl.
She was a famous movie star. I would characterize her sort of as a female Indiana Jones. And she was pretty and shapely and popular, romantic films, escapist. Hitler's a bit of a romantic. And so he liked her.
The film portrayed Hitler as a godlike figure, the savior of the German people.
Hitler's entrance in the film is from the sky, as a Messiah would be descending down through the heavens, through the clouds, to the faithful waiting for him below. And anytime he appears, any people that are anywhere near up close to him have these starry-eyed looks in their eyes, glazed looks almost, as if they're in the presence of an unearthly being. That's intentional.
In his speeches, Hitler often borrowed Christian phrases, like in this scene with the Hitler Youth.
After they sing their song devoted to him, Hail Hitler to Thee, which is almost like a religious chant, he goes into his speech and he says things like, "You are flesh of our flesh and blood of our blood." Well, he borrows that from the Roman Catholic ritual, with which he's very familiar. It's a very physical statement, and it resonates with that crowd.
Hitler's popularity skyrocketed after the release of Triumph of the Will. The next year, more than 1 million Germans came to Nuremberg to hear his speech. On the evening of September 15, 1935, Hitler announced the Nuremberg Laws, laws that took away German citizenship from Jews.
The law for the protection of German blood and German honor is intended to begin the marginalization process of the Jewish people. Hitler had a lot of popular support for much of his time in office. One doesn't get popular support by saying to the public, we're going to put Jewish people in gas chambers and then incinerate them. You don't do that. What he did was gradually marginalize them.
It was also here that Hitler used the phrase final solution for the first time in public. Bitter complaints have come in from countless places citing the provocative behavior of Jews. This law is an attempt to find a legislative solution. If this attempt fails, it will be necessary to transfer the Jewish problem to the National Socialist Party for a final solution. The Nuremberg laws stripped the Jews of their rights as citizens.
They couldn't teach in public universities. They couldn't practice medicine in public hospitals. They couldn't fly the national flag. Then that was coupled with the Reich citizenship law, which said that Jewish people in Germany were subjects of the Reich, but not citizens.
Hitler's final solution is now known as the Holocaust, from the Greek word that means a holy burnt animal sacrifice. In AD 92, the faithful martyr Antipas died, a holy burnt sacrifice on the altar of Zeus in Pérgamo, the place the book of Revelation calls the throne of Satan. Centuries later in Nuremberg, in the center of a redesigned Pergamon altar, the bronze bull was replaced by a podium. From there, Adolf Hitler announced his final solution to the world, and this time, the burnt sacrifice was 6 million Jews.
Conspiracy theories have attracted the attention of many people throughout the ages. They range from questioning the US moon landing, the real story behind 9/11, and even deaths of rap stars such as Tupac. News and Views brings you a documentary on some anomalies that have been discovered in Denver Airport, Colorado, and on what we believe authorities have attempted to cover up about the mysterious characteristics of this airport.
Any traveler to Denver Airport, Colorado, is in for a scary experience. This airport has been the subject of many questions due to the unexplainable symbols, images, and stories that have surfaced. Denver Airport was built in 1995 on a span of 53 square miles. Even though Denver already had a functioning airport, a new one was decidedly built. This new airport had less runways and absolutely no new technological advancement. The only thing that this new airport has that the old one didn't is a strangely large amount of space. When looking at an aerial shot of the new airport, the layout has shocked many. Denver Airport's runways have been situated in such a way that resembles a Nazi swastika. Not only has the shape of Denver Airport been called to question, but also what is located inside. But who is in charge of all the weird nuances at this airport? The general consensus is that it is the New World Order. But who are the New World Order? Well, they are an elite group of individuals that include many of the world's wealthiest people, such as well-known political leaders, and those related to the British Crown. But their main goal is to create one united world government that has no regional boundaries. But this would only be possible in one way, and that is to commit a mass genocide and narrow down the world's population to 2 billion people. Their reasoning for this thought is because there would be more control. Denver Airport has a myriad of symbols that are correlated to the New World Order. There is a dedication stone in the airport that mentions the New World Airport Commission. However, there is no such thing. The New World Airport Commission is made up and was never created. One can only assume that it is alluding to the New World Order. Also, there is a plate on the floor that shows the symbols AUAG. Some may say that this is related to gold and silver. However, one of the sponsors of the airport discovered a new deadly strain of hepatitis known as Australian antigen, and this is also symbolized by AUAG. What is scary is that this symbol is located right in front of a mural on a wall that is about genocide. But let's talk more about the murals in Denver Airport. The murals located in the airport are the most notable features of this airport. The main mural stretches over 4 walls and was painted by Chicano artist Leo Tanguma, who was in fact Mayan. The first mural here shows 3 dead women, an African, a Native American, and a young Jewish girl. In the background, we can see the destruction of a city and a forest. This attempts to show the destruction of the world. Another notable part of this mural is the fact that there is a little girl carrying a Mayan tablet. This alludes to the Mayan date of December 21st, 2012. This is when the Mayans predict that the world is going to go through a rebirth phase. The main emphasis of this mural, once again, is the destruction of the world and the preservation of some life. The second mural shows a huge military figure wearing a gas mask and holding a machine gun and a sword. This sword is stabbing a dove, which is the symbol for peace, and implies that peace will be destroyed. There are grayish waves emanating from the figure, and these waves represent death. or in this case, a poisonous gas that has killed everyone in its path. This mural is the one with the AUAG symbol, the one that is related to the deadly virus strain. One can also see a line of weeping women holding their dead infants, and a group of dead children on a pile of bricks. The emphasis of this mural is of a cleansing that is going to kill a myriad of people in its path. However, interestingly enough, this mural has been painted over in recent years. The third mural shows all of the children of the world taking their weapons from each country and giving them to a German boy, who is then molding them into something else. All the children of this scene are of different ethnicity, and all seem to be relieved. The gas mask man in the previous mural is seen dead, and there are 2 doves perched on his body. The main emphasis of this mural is to show the return of peace after all the killings have taken place, and that there will be no more need for weapons in this perfect world. The final mural has a Jesus-like figure in the middle, who is holding a plant which symbolizes rebirth. All of the people are running towards this man with happy expressions. Animals are freely roaming, and everything seems to be in perfect harmony. This final mural alludes to a new Garden of Eden, where the world is perfect size, and everything could work together in peace after the genocide that has taken place. All in all, these murals, when put together, represent the formation of a new world filled with fewer people, and this is also the goal of the New World Order, which has been seen represented throughout various parts of the airport. The symbology of the airport can still be debated, but one thing that cannot be questioned is the fact that there has been a lot of mysterious construction work underneath Denver Airport. When first constructing the airport, there were originally 5 buildings, but out of the blue, the builders were ordered to bury the buildings underground because they were supposedly built wrong. Normally, a building that is built wrong would be demolished, but in this case it was not. This allowed for an underground base to be created, but there are still workers who are sent to work in these underground bases periodically. But when they are questioned about the nature of their work, they all refuse to comment. These underground bases have been going under more construction and now have underground tunnels that connect all the buildings together. According to a contractor, these tunnels have a strange sprinkler system that was added onto the roofs of the tunnel. But this sprinkler system has no valid use, as these tunnels are concrete and underground. If relating these sprinkler systems back to the sign of AUAG in front of the mural regarding genocide, then one must begin to wonder what the use of a sprinkler in a concrete tunnel 150 feet below the ground would be. These underground bases appear to be holding rooms due to the sheer mass and size, and some say that they even allude to concentration camps. This is because, 1. These holding rooms have no purpose, and when the airport authorities were questioned, they say that they are merely being used for storage. And 2, all the barbed wire fences face the inside of the airport rather than facing the outside, which is what they usually do. This implies that they are trying to keep things in rather than keep things out. And 3, the sprinkler systems have no use, but they may be related to the deadly virus Australian antigen and the pursuits of the New World Order. People have attempted to argue that the underground bases are being used for storage, but one fact must be questioned, and that is, why is the underground base 88.5 square miles long? And why were the 5 buildings mysteriously buried? No airport has or needs that much storage room. So what is this space really being used for? Whenever the authorities are questioned, they are not allowed to answer. We are not the only ones who seem to be fascinated with this airport. The Queen of England, alongside many other famous European royalty and politicians, are hurriedly buying property close to the airport under an alias. One can only assume that they must feel that there is something significant about this airport in order to do so. It is very easy to dismiss a conspiracy theory, but it is not hard to dismiss cold, hard facts that surround them. The odd happenings in this airport have been called to questions, but all the questions have been dismissed and have not been answered. Is the New World Order really going to attempt to take over? And if they are, does that mean that our own government is involved? Research nowadays can only do so much. Now, only time will tell. This is Zara Malik, News and Views.